Canberra's Peking Duck, featuring Nicole Miller. And hi, you're on Triple Six. Alex Sloan with you this afternoon. 10 past 2, 25 degrees in town. And on the flyer for his talk this evening at the Majura Hall in Dixon, it says in 2014, James Aspey took a 365-day vow of silence. So a whole year, travelled Australia, including cycling from Darwin to Sydney, raising awareness of how to live a life of compassion. And he joins me in the studio. Lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you.
You're rocking out to the Canberra music.
I'm loving it. Love that song.
That's good. Now, herein lies the story. So obviously the vow of silence is behind you now.
Thankfully, yes.
Was it hard?
Many times it was hard. It was kind of a fun gimmick at first. And then as it went on, it just kind of became more and more frustrating, really. Even though I got better at expressing myself without words, it just was a really long duration of time. So, it was pretty hard.
So why? Why did you do this?
Yeah, the reason I took the vow of silence was to raise awareness for the voiceless victims of this planet, which is the animals. And I wanted to show that even though they don't communicate with a voice, or if someone doesn't communicate with a voice, it doesn't mean that that's an excuse to use and abuse and do whatever we want with them just because they can't tell us in words that we understand clearly that they don't want that to happen.
So this talk this evening's been organised by Animal Liberation, as I understand, is that right?
Yeah, Animal Liberation, ACT. Yeah.
Why? Tell me, because when you were 17, you got quite sick.
Yeah, I did. When I was 17, I got acute lymphoblastic leukemia and T-cell lymphoma. And
it sounds incredibly challenging and nasty. Not a good thing. Not good things to get.
They said to me if I didn't start chemo straight away, I'd have 6 weeks to live. So we did start straight away. And then I was really sick for a long time, and I put on 25 kilos like very, very quick, and I was quite fit and healthy before that. And so when I was finally able to start training and everything again, a man who was a personal trainer and a friend of mine, he helped me to lose all the weight. That got me into personal training because I wanted to do the same for others. I wanted to help them feel better as well. And so I did that for 9 years. And it's a lot about personal training. It's about teaching people how to live healthy and eat healthy. And that led me to learning about all the health benefits in cutting out animal products from the diet. And that led me to, during my research and all that, finding out about all that, which is something I never thought was possible before, to live without animal products. When I found out not only is it possible, but it's also incredibly healthy, then that's when...
So it was driven first by the health
aspects of it. Yeah, all about health. I really didn't care about animals much at all. I was quite indifferent to them, to their suffering. I'd seen things before about their suffering, and I just thought, well, if that's what's got to happen for us to live, then so be it. Nothing you can do. But during that time of studying the nutrition and the health benefits, I came across the animal suffering and the slaughtering and the torture and basically everything they go through before they become that neatly wrapped package on the supermarket shelf with no trace of blood, with no trace of cruelty. And when I saw that again for the second time, I thought, you know what, this is actually not something I'm okay with. I don't want to contribute to their suffering if I don't have to. I like animals. I don't, they're fine. The point is I don't hate them, and those kind of actions.
I suppose just on the other hand, some people say, look, our processes here are very regulated. They're not cruel. It's not about hate. And that's just another argument.
Yeah. Oh, look, even on the very best farm, even on a farm where they give them belly scratches and rubs every day, which is the vast minority, and you probably wouldn't find any animal products like that in your supermarket. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that was the norm. All the animals are still slaughtered at a fraction of their life, so you really can't get away from that cruelty. That's immense.
So you viewed yourself as an animal, did you? And it's just part of that, and why you were dominant over the other animals? Was it that part of the process of this, or?
Well, we are animals. Humans are animals. Yeah. And there's a big belief that we're superior in certain ways. For example, intelligence, or that we have self-awareness. But for these reasons, you can always find humans that don't have these certain characteristics of, there's certain animals that are more smart than certain humans. And so you can't really base what we do to them, the way that we exploit and torture and slaughter them, on those characteristics. And what it ends up coming down to, when you keep knocking out each excuse and realizing that they don't really have any basis, is that we are discriminating against them because of their species, and that's the species alone.
James Aspey is with me, and as I said, he spent 2014, and you're well now. The 10 years on from that very challenging part of your life, you're well and you're fit. And...
I've never been more healthy in my life.
Okay, well, that's...
Well, I just rode from Darwin to Sydney.
Yeah, so, and did you raise money, or...?
I was initially raising money for...
It's hard to when you've got a vow of silence to say, give me money.
Well, I was writing a blog, and that's how
Okay.
people were following my journey. That's Voiceless365, the Facebook page. And so I could have, and I did raise a bit of money at first for an organisation, but it came to my attention that they were, you know, what I think needs to happen is people need to go vegan, which means you reject all cruelty and all suffering, all exploitation. You say no to all of it. And the organisation that I was raising funds for, on a brochure I saw somewhere in Darwin, they promoted Go Vegetarian. And it's great to stop eating meat, but it's not enough to just stop eating meat if you're still consuming eggs and dairy and visiting places like SeaWorld and other ways in which we exploit animals, like clothing and things like that. Stopping eating meat's great, but it's just not enough if you agree that causing unnecessary harm and suffering on others is wrong. And the way to be consistent with that is just simply to...
So you're
be
pretty
vegan.
tough on just vegetarians, and people who may just eat fish in their diet as well.
I wouldn't say I'm tough on anyone. Just in my belief, it's that if you want to be consistent, if you think violence is wrong, regardless of species, and you understand that it is unnecessary. We do this to these animals not out of any necessity, not out of any need. It's just because it's a habit we're in, and we're used to buying animal products and cooking with animals, and it tastes good. And if you value non-violence and you value peace and compassion to others, whether that be human animals or non-human animals, I'm not going to be hard on anyone and, you know, force
This is a
anything.
philosophy and a path that you've chosen.
Well, that's something that I've definitely chosen, and I think anyone else who agrees with what I just said, the only rational response is to go vegan and to stop contributing to those acts of violence and cruelty.
This is James Aspey speaking. It's of course not the views of the ABC, but it's really interesting to hear your
it's
view.
just my view.
And it's grown out of what was a really challenging part in your life. You obviously is nothing like facing mortality in the face to kind of reassess your place on the planet, is there?
Absolutely.
And that's essentially what's happened with you. And I mean, not everyone takes a vow of silence for a year or rides a bike from Darwin to Sydney.
Absolutely.
So it's been quite extraordinary.
Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. Like you said, when you face mortality, I think for me, it did give me a higher value of life. Maybe.
And at such a young age, at 17.
Yeah, it was an intense time in my life, and it was pretty hard, and it was touch and go for a long time, and it did, like I said, it made me value life more, and also feeling so bad and suffering myself. I know what it's like to suffer, and I wouldn't want someone else to suffer because of me, and that's why I got into personal training. I wanted to help people feel good
So
and
you're
come
still
out of their
personal
suffering.
training, are you?
Now I'm pretty much a full-time vegan animal rights activist.
Okay.
Since last year, that's been all I've been doing since then. But I am still a personal trainer at heart as well. And if the opportunity, if it calls for it, where I need to get back into it, I'd happily do it. But right now, I'm kind of running with this. This is really where my passion lies. So it's kind of on the back burner for now.
You are with Alex Sloan this afternoon, and James Aspey, look, lovely to meet you. I'm glad you're well.
Thank you. Alex.
Look, it's an interesting view of the world. It's not one that everyone agrees with, of course.
Yeah.
I think there is a private members bill to be introduced in our parliament that requires animal rights. I'll just wait for that to come up. Activists, so I think Pete's madly writing that for me. I'll just wait for that. James Aspey is with me this afternoon. And I suppose, yes, in terms of, and there's been a big debate here about damage done to let out bettongs out of vet, and animal liberationists were linked to that. There's also been damage to property. Again, you know, is there a radical side that you distance yourself from?
That's not personally where I involve myself, but I can understand why people would want to go to those lengths. It's just like, you know, if you aren't speciesists and you do value the lives of human and non-human animals equally, then, you know, it's like in the death camps in Germany, there were many humans that went in and destroyed the death camps and liberated the humans. So, although I don't agree with that method for myself,
But to go and smash property, or to let, you know, bettongs, which have now bred beautifully actually, out to be then destroyed by foxes or cats, is
look,
fairly
I think if you're gonna,
brainless.
absolutely, I think if you're going to rescue animals, you need to already have homes for them. But I am not against liberating animals from places of cruelty and torture where their lives will be soon ended against their will.
James, lovely to meet you.
It's such a pleasure to meet you
Thanks
too, Alex.
so much,
Thanks
and it's
so much for
really
having me
good.
on.
And it's good to have this because, as I said, not everyone will agree with your philosophy in life, but you're telling us where it came from, why it came from that, and I respect that. And
you.
thanks for coming in, and I'm glad you're so well.
Thanks so much. Can I just say, if you want to come and find out more about the journey, you can find out at voiceless365.com or my Facebook page, Voiceless365.
Right, of course, with a non-commercial ABC, but lovely to
sorry.
meet you. That's James Aspey, your 666. It's 21 past 2, 27 degrees in town.